Hello students, today we are going to study principle of inheritance and variation, and we will cover 5 topics from this chapter in the part 1. Here the number 1 is genetics, then the heredity and variation, then Mendel's law of inheritance, then inheritance of one gene, and lastly the test cross. Okay, now if you ever wonder that why every parent organism produces the similar offspring, means one mother elephant always produce a baby elephant. Also, one big mango tree always produces a small mango tree from the seed. Okay, so why these things occurs? These things occurs because of the inheritance and the variations. Now, what are they? Every parent individual produces an offspring, and sometimes these offspring are completely similar, or sometimes they are slightly different. Okay, so here comes the concept of genetics. Now, the study of inheritance and variation, the study of these two terminology is known as genetics. Now, first we have to know that what is inheritance. Inheritance. Okay, so inheritance is the process of transmission of traits or characters from one generation, means the parent generation, to another generation, means the offspring generation. Okay, and another terminology is the variation. Okay, so variation means the degree by which progeny differs from the parents. Okay, so these are two basic concepts of the genetics. Number 1 is the inheritance, and number 2 is the variation. Okay, now why these variations occur? These variations occur because of the difference in the morphology, then in the cytology, then physiology, and lastly on the behavior. Okay, so these are the reasons behind variation. Now, the term genetics was first discovered by a renowned scientist named Gregor Johann Mendel. He was also known as the father of genetics, as he first coined the term genetics. Okay, now Mendel experimented a lot before giving the theories on genetics. First of all, he conducted the hybridization experiment. Hybridization experiment. And for this, he selected the garden pea plants. Okay. And the experiment was conducted for 7 years on a whole, and after the whole experiment, he gave the law of inheritance. Inheritance. Okay. Now, why did he selected the pea plants? Number one reason is distinct contrasting characters are present in the pea plants. Then the pea plants has very short lifespan. Okay, so by this he wanted to analyze both inheritance and variation for the same species. Then the flowers have self-pollination, means it is very much easy to artificially pollinate the pea plants. Okay, so these are the reasons that why he selected the pea plants. Then his work plan was very much successful. So the total work plan was very much successful because of his method of work and proper planning strategies. Okay. Now, why this? Because he studied only one character at a time. Now, another reason is he used all the available tools to avoid the cross pollination. Okay. After these strategies, he conducted the experiment. And lastly, he used the mathematical and statistical analysis to calculate the data obtained. Okay. Then Mendel selected total of 7 contrasting characters for his experiment. Here, number 1 is the flower color, where he selected the purple and white flower color, then plant height, tall or dwarf or short, then seed color, yellow and green, then seed shape, round and wrinkled, then pod color, green and yellow, pod shape, inflated and constricted, and flower position, axial and terminal. Okay, so here we can see 2 terms. One is dominant and the other one is recessive. He denoted the dominant trait as the capital letter, for example, capital T for tall and small t for the dwarf plants. Okay, so here for his experiment, the dominant traits or characters are suppressing over the recessive trait or recessive characters. Okay. So, for example, if we consider the tall and dwarf, the capital T will be tall, capital T small t will be tall phenotype, and small t will be dwarf, because the capital T is overpowering the small t. Okay. Now, in his experiment, he conducted the true breeding between the P lines. Okay. And for this true breeding experiment, he selected plants for the self-pollination, and another thing is stable trait inheritance. Okay. Inheritance. Then, for his experiment, there was 2 steps. Number 1 is the emasculation, and number 2 is the pollination. Okay. So, here the emasculation means the removal of anther to conduct the self-pollination, and the pollination is the transfer of pollen. So that's the mechanism of the breeding he conducted in the experiment. The next thing is the inheritance of one gene. So, as we know that he calculated one character at a time, so we also call it as the monohybrid cross. Okay. So, first we will see the example of the tall and dwarf pea plants. Okay. So, he conducted the cross between the tall and the dwarf pea plants. Okay. And he denoted the tall as capital T and dwarf as the small t. And this is the parent generation. Now, after the self-pollination in the F1 generation, he found all the plants are tall and they are of capital T, small t phenotype. So all of these plants are tall plants. Okay. Then again he conducted the self-pollination of this F1 generation or the interbreeding process. Okay. And in the F2 generation, he found dwarf plant of 1/4 and tall plant of 3/4 ratio. Now, why this kind of number came? So, for this, we need to understand the Punnett square. Okay. So, in the F1 generation, there was only one type of plant, which is capital T, small t. Now, in the Punnett square, if we calculate here the capital T, small t, then the capital T, small t. So, in the simple mathematical calculation, here the result will be capital T, then capital T, small t, here again capital T, small t, and lastly small t, small t. Okay, so here this capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, and capital T, small t, all of them are tall, and the small t is the only trait representing the dwarf plant. Okay, so Mendel stated these characters as factor, not as gene. Okay, he stated these characters as factor. Now, the factors are also, we know that these are also known as alleles. Allele means these genes, pair of genes, they code for contrasting characters. Okay, so here the capital T and small t are two alleles. Okay, now the concept of homozygous and heterozygous. Okay, so when the two alleles are similar, like the capital T and small t, these two structure represents the homozygous allele. And when there is a mixed combination like capital T, small t, this is considered as the heterozygous allele. Now, from the cross of the Mendel's experiment, so from the cross of the Mendelian experiment, there was one capital T, then capital T, small t, then capital T, small t, then small t, small t. Okay, so from this cross, Mendel also stated the phenotypic ratio. Okay, so phenotypic ratio is basically the physical appearance of the plant. Okay, so here the physical appearance showed a ratio of 3:1, means these three tall, then another one is short. So here the phenotypic ratio tall is to dwarf is 3:1. And also he stated the genotypic ratio. The genotypic ratio, where he represented the genetic characters or genetic structures. Okay, so here the capital T is to capital T, small t, and small t. Here the ratio is 1:2:1. We can see that this is capital T 1. Then here capital T, small t, and capital T, small t is present in 2 number, and lastly the small t is represents as single one. So the genotypic ratio will be 1:2:1. And the phenotypic ratio means the physical appearance ratio tall is to dwarf would be 3:1. Okay. Next, the test cross, where the test cross means the cross between one dominant trait and other recessive trait. Okay, mostly one from the parent generation and the other one from the F1 generation. Okay, so here from the first cross, where Mendel crossed between the capital T and the small t, he found all tall heterozygous plant. Means the capital T, small t. All tall heterozygous plants. Okay. So this is the parent generation and this is the F1 generation. Now he conducted the cross between the capital T small t of the F1 generation and the small t of the P1 generation. So for this, the cross will be here the capital T small t from the F1 generation, capital T small t from the F1 generation, and small t from the parent generation. So for the results will be capital T small t, then another capital T small t, and the other two will be small t and small t. So here these two are heterozygous, and these two are homozygous, recessive, and these two is heterozygous. So here in the result is 50% of tall plants and 50% of dwarf plants. So this is the result of Mendel's test cross. Okay, now for all the other 6 contrasting characters, he found similar results. Okay, so that's all for the part 1. We will discuss the part 2 of law of independent assortment and the exceptions of Mendel's law in our next class. Thanks for watching.
To learn difficult concepts of physics, chemistry and biology within few minutes to crack NEET and JEE with fun, like, share and subscribe our new YouTube channel ShantU. You will get conceptual videos, highly effective notes, short tricks, mock tests and much more. Hope we shall meet there.